Pax dug. Since moving run up the gorge, Pax and Bristle had taken turns guarding him, a pact of protection. There would be his strong hind legs, there would be his ears. Runt was safe and sleeping inside the abandoned groundhog's den that Bristle had enlarged for him. Still, Pax felt anxious. Something was coming. He dug as he kept watch in front of the burrow. The pads of his paws were toughened. They did not bleed. When Bristle returned from hunting, she dropped a chipmunk in front of him. Pax turned away, although he had not eaten since the cheese 2 nights before. He would not take food from Bristle or Runt. Bristle buried the chipmunk and then stretched out beside the den for her watch. Pax left to pace the perimeter of the clearing again. The location was good. Although it was near the encampment, it was high enough above it to feel safe from the exploding earth down near the river. Juniper bushes ringing the clearing would provide cover. More important, they would help disguise the fox's scents. A short distance away, a clear spring trickled from a cleft rock, and the grass was full of game. But something was wrong. Something was coming. Pax bounded the short distance through the trees to the ridgeline above the encampment. The encounter with his boy's father had left him too wary to attempt another raid. But at the same time, he was more drawn to the camp. The man's motion, that sweeping kick of his boot through the doorway, with its conflicting messages of goodwill and threat, had reminded him, and he needed to protect his boy. And if the man lived at the camp, surely Peter would find a way to his way there soon. Cool. Yeah. It was mid-afternoon. Pax watched the sort. How am I reading? Okay. It was mid-afternoon. Pax watched the war sick spread out along the riverbank, rolling more wires, digging more holes, and burying more dark boxes under the hot sun. The odor of their sweat was spiked with the new aggression. The danger he sensed was more immediate than that, although it was more primitive. He ran back and paced the clearing again. When he saw Runt emerge blinking from the den, Pax hurried over to examine him. No blood seeped from the wound, and it smelled clean. Runt ignored the meal Bristle dug up for him. Pax could see that he was thirsty. I will take him to the spring. Bristle began to follow, but then she sat back down and merely watched intently as they left. When they returned, Runt tumbled back into the den. Pax settled himself in front of it. The groundhog's burrow entrance felt too large, too open, and he felt better when he kept guard there. But Bristle called, "Come with me, watch." She picked her way into the grass, paw over silent paw, head low and cocked to the ground. Pax followed as carefully. In the middle of the clearing, she stopped short. Ears perked forward and shot a quick glance back at him. Pax heard it. A light scurrying under the netting of dry grass that matted the ground. Bristle tracked it as if she could see its movement. Then she sprang into the air and jacked straight down, paws over her nose, emerged with a mouse in her jaws. She ate in a few bites and then angled back across the clearing, searching again. She dropped to her haunches. She had cocked to her left. "Now you." Pax listened until he felt sure he had located the tunneling rustle. A high leap, and then he tucked his paws over his nose to dive just as Bristle had. He landed hard, no mouse. He turned away from Bristle to huff out the dirt. Bristle stalked off. Pax followed, his head hanging until she perked her ears toward another faint scurrying. Again she backed away while Pax tried to pounce. Again, no mouse. Bristle studied Pax as he pawed the dirt from his cheeks. "Follow me." Pax padded behind her until she stopped abruptly and watched and dropped to a crouch. Before them was a hole in the thatch. It was warm with the fresh scent of many mice. Bristle warned him to stay back. "Don't move. Watch." Bristle crept forward. In front of the hole, she dropped and laid her head on her paws. She closed her eyes to slits, and her whole body relaxed as if in deep sleep. Pax was surprised he He had thought she was still teaching him to hunt. He stood. Bristle tapped a warning with her signed tail. Stay. Pax settled again. For many moments nothing happened. Then Pax caught the faintest stirring at the opening of the warren. A quivering nose tested the air, then retreated. Another long moment, and the mouse reappeared, and its movements were so light, so alert that Pax knew it was a whisker away from flight. Bristle didn't stir, except for the flicker of an eyelid as she cut a warning glance at Pax. The mouse emerged and retreated twice more, then assured that the fox was asleep. They made a run for cover. Bristle's swift paw swept out and raked the doomed mouse into her jaws. Pax understood. Bristle retreated to guard Runt, and Pax trotted into the clearing, eager to find the telltale hole that would allow him to try the move himself. He found one beside a rotting log and drew in the thick scents of a colony of field mice. He settled himself a 4 legs reach away. His excitement made it hard to stay perfectly still. But at last a mouse came to the entrance and tested the air. Like Bristle's quarry, the mouse darted back and at the sight of the fox. Like Bristle's quarry, it re-emerged until it was convinced Pax was asleep, and then made a run for it. Pax wasn't quick as Bristle, but he managed to knock the mouse over, and as it scrambled to its feet, he swiped again and caught his first prey. It was a small meal, but each bite sent a hot current through Pax's body. The mouse's life now merged with his own. His muscles brimmed with energy. He sprang up and tore a joyful path around the clearing, running beside Bristle in a blaze of red fur. She got to her feet to watch. Pax sped by again, scarcely skimming the ground, but it wasn't celebration enough. In the center of the clearing stood an old, crooked, sweet gum tree. Its lowest limbs reached out over a hollow. Its separate branches glinted blue with feeding jays. Pax flew out the trunk. He scrambled easily onto the first low branch and balanced there. Then, step by cautious step, he began to walk along its length. Leaves rustled around him in welcome like fragrant green stars. Through them, he looked down in astonishment. The world had changed from this vantage point. He could see through the ridge-lined trees to the encampment and the river in the distance. The meadow grasses, which just a moment ago had brushed his shoulders, now seemed flattened to a broad green bowl. Jays flew down to scold him. Pax recalled Runt's flight. He coiled himself and sprang, stretching out and out, feeling the air ruffle his belly fur. He landed lightly and threw his head back and barked his happiness. This new world was his. He could travel through it, and he could feed himself on its bounty whenever he wanted. He was a part of it all, free but not alone. Pax hurried to where he'd buried the peanut butter jar and unearthed it. He carried it back and dropped it in front of Bristle and Runt, who were drowsing at the burrow entrance in the last rays of afternoon sun. Both of them came alive instantly at the strange scent. Bristle was on her feet first. She nudged the jar and jumped back at its surprising roll. She sniffed it all around and tested it with her tongue. One taste was all it took. Bristle locked the jar between her paws and began lapping greedily, cleaning out the top half in seconds. She squirmed her snout in deeper. Pax had done the same thing. Be careful, you can get trapped. Too late. Bristle jumped in. She thrashed her head from side to side, but the jar was wedged on tightly. She hopped onto her hind legs, trying with both forepaws to claw it off, and tumbled over and over. Runt watched in amazement. His sister had never lost her composure before. Pax approached, offering to help, but Bristle dashed away. She would do this to herself. She would do this herself. Finally, she rolled onto her back and pried the jar off her face with her hind legs. She shook herself and stalked back, her head and tail high. She dropped down beside Pax and began cleaning herself. Bristle had never sat this close to him before, with her flank pressed comfortably against his own. Her scent had never been this friendly. A streak of brown on Bristle's white cheek caught his attention. Without thinking of the consequences, he stretched out and licked it off, and Bristle allowed it. Pax cleaned her ears and throat and her muzzle, and after a moment Bristle returned the care. Cheek to cheek, the two foxes groomed each other. Bristle stopped to sniff Pax deeply. You don't smell of humans now. Pax didn't respond. He got to his feet to test the air. Something dangerous had entered the clearing with the dusk, an animal scent he didn't recognize but feared. It was gone as quickly as it appeared, but Pax howled at Runt. Get inside the den. Now. So that was the 25th chapter of Pax. I will be returning tomorrow, surprisingly, with Pax, which is actually pretty cool. Returning tomorrow with Pax. I'm also tomorrow I'm gonna do Cuphead, and also gonna do I think I'm also gonna do Mario Kart. So let me just put this back real quick. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Beautiful Pax. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow for it. The schedule's going pretty good. I have the Szechuan sauce t-shirt. And yeah. I think I'm also going to be uploading a survival games tomorrow. Don't really know. Maybe 4 videos tomorrow. We'll see. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!